Camelback Conversations. I'm Pastor Cole, and I'm excited today because normally you may notice, for those who watch regularly, this is not my office. We didn't do a renovation. We didn't do anything like that. But we're doing something a little different this time. We've got Ryan and Livi here with us today, and Livi is coming on board with us as our Director of Children's Ministries. And so we're super excited, and so we thought, what better place to have the introductory welcome than in the depths of the nursery. This is, for those who don't wander around our campus, this is the youngest room. We're actually in the baby's sleep room. It's quite peaceful in here. But yeah, so if you've never been around campus, this is the youngest a child could be, is this room. So kind of as we walked around, you guys were like looking at, holy smokes, like this is a very, it just keeps going. It's a very clean room. And so we're thankful to all our volunteers who keep this place clean and welcoming. And they have literally everything a mom could need is in here. Yeah. So we're super excited. So let's, our purpose for this podcast is to equip, encourage, and inform the congregation at Camelback Bible. And so we're going to do a little of all of that today. And so let's start with your guys' story. So the story of how you met Christ, how you met each other, and we'll get to how you got to Camelback.
Great. Sounds good. I can start with my testimony. So I grew up in the church. My dad was a pastor, been a pastor for pretty much as long as I've been alive.
He's a pastor in Utah now, right?
He is now a pastor in Utah.
Cool.
Started there a few months ago, loves it. So that's been awesome. But yeah, grew up in the church, definitely introduced to the gospel early on. Church was a big part of my life. Faith was obviously a big part of my life, what it meant to know God and to love God. I would say that I think, was I really a Christian? I probably knew as much as was, I think, developmentally appropriate for the time.
Yeah.
Understood what I think I could. I think I really understood or I really came to faith when I was about 14. And most of that was just, okay, this has been my parents' faith for all of my life. This needs to become my own at some point. So what does it look like for me to no longer share just my parents' faith, but to have a faith of my own? What does it look like for me to glorify God? What does it look like for me to become more like Christ? And so ever since then, ebbs and flows as things go, but I'm just doing my best to love the Lord and serve others. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I also grew up in a Christian household, and I grew up regularly attending church, liking when I did that, but then I really started taking my faith seriously when I was around 16, 17. I was in youth group, and that's the first time that I was discipled by someone, and she was asking me the hard questions. Are you all in every single area of your life? Are you willing to surrender that to Christ? And I realized I hadn't done that before, and I still had things I was holding on to, and through that discipleship process, I really came to start to follow Christ. And then shortly after that, I did a discipleship program where I learned who God was. And I started learning about his character for the first time and how to read my Bible in a way that actually glorified God and was bigger than just me and what I could get out of it. And so that really changed my life, learning more about who God was and how to read the Bible in a more correct way.
Awesome. And then, so now how you met Christ. So next we go to how you met each other, right? So you guys have quite a story of all over the country. And
we do. Yeah. So we met at a Christian summer camp, Hume Lake, up in Sequoia National Forest. We were both security guards, which sounds a lot more hardcore than it actually was.
Christian camp security guard.
Oh, yeah.
Is,
right.
Yeah, that's
right.
SWAT right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, big time.
The nighttime shenanigans the kids tried to pull off, put an end to it.
Yep.
Yeah, we have stories, but it's fine. So we very much started out as friends. I think the first time we really interacted, I think she was reading a book, and I was like, "Oh, what are you reading?" And she took that as, "Oh, he's a reader. That's a good start." And so she invited me just to, hang out with her and chat over what she had been reading, and we kind of just hit it off. And from there, we just became friends. Nothing more. We would never be anything more than friends. And I would say probably what, 5 to 6 weeks in, it became clear that, this is going to probably turn into something.
Yeah.
And so it was funny. She asked me, do you have feelings for me? That whole conversation, I was like, no, mainly because I hadn't thought about it. And then the next day I was like, just kidding, I do. And from there we decided we would do long distance for a little bit. So she was in the San Francisco Bay Area at the time. I was still at school in Chicago. And so once that camp ended, we did long distance for about year and a half. And then after I graduated from college, we both moved to the West Valley and did in person, got engaged and married, and here we are.
Awesome. And your guys' college majors were?
Economics.
Economics.
And I was
and
educational studies.
Education studies. So then you guys moved to the Valley, right? And you guys came to Phoenix Seminary. That's where we met.
Yep.
Yes.
You guys took my research and writing class.
Yes.
And I'm trying to remember, you guys, what time was that class at? Because they've moved me all over the place.
I want to say it started at 6 p.m.
It was at like
and
6
went till
p.m.
It was a
like
late
9:30.
one. It
Yeah.
was brutal.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Yeah.
They keep putting that class, teaching how to format sentences at like 6 o'clock, right at primetime dinner or later is.
No better time to learn.
Yeah,
the
this
format.
semester it's at 8 o'clock is when I start, so it's rough.
Yeah.
But so we met there, and you guys had just started, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. You guys were living across the city, and then I remember we all sat down because you guys were moving to this side of the valley, and you guys had questions of how to find a church, and so we answered that really quick by saying, "Come to Camelback."
Yes.
So then you guys came to Camelback. When was it? It was like, because I got here it would have been about this time of year, March, April. I got here the same week as the Oregon. So me and the Oregon are coworkers.
Well, that's easy to
Well,
remember.
Our work anniversaries are the
Okay.
same. So then you guys were like, was it May?
It was July.
July, that's
Yeah.
right. It was into the summer.
Yeah.
We might have like gone once before we moved, but I don't remember we moved in July and then we were here
Yep.
full time. We never looked back.
Yeah, and you guys jumped in right away. We got you in youth group.
Yep.
So you guys have been helping out with the youth group, and you were previously working at Veritas, right?
Yes.
So you guys were
Yes.
both teaching. It was sixth grade for both you guys, right?
I do
I'm-
6th grade math.
I'm 7th and then a little bit of 8th as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So you guys have been you guys have been over there. You jumped in with youth group, and then this opportunity popped up, and we chased it, and here we are.
Exactly.
So I want to talk a little bit about just as you guys have got to know Camelback. So we'll start with your time with youth group, but then we're going to expand out from there. So let's see how to ask this. What's been your favorite part of jumping in and serving here at Camelback?
I would say first off, the youth, they're just awesome.
Yeah.
They're so much fun. It is such a joy and blessing to be able to just walk with them in their walk with God. It's such a formative time, and to just be able to have that impact and also just get to know them. They're really cool. I know I was definitely impacted by people that worked with me when I was that age. So that's been really great. Also, the people who serve in youth are so cool.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful just to be able to hang out and serve with people who also have a passion for not only the gospel, but for the youth getting to know it. So that's been an absolute blast.
I love that every week we present the gospel to them. So you share the gospel message every single time. And your question is, so what do we do with this? Do you actually believe this? And that was my story when I was in high school, is I realized I didn't believe it really until someone started asking me and asking those probing questions. And so it's cool to see them realize, like, actually, I think I have areas in my life I'm still holding on to, or I'm not sure what it means to walk with the Lord this way. And so really just hammering in the gospel every single week with them. And it's been really sweet to see the fruit of that as well.
Yeah, so that kind of brings up this little side tangent of kind of the spiritual development, right? So I did not grow up in church, but generally speaking, kind of the way different ministries aim, the nursery, right? Here in our quiet domain. The goal when they're this little is just that church is a positive experience, right? We just want them to know this is a place where you can be loved, right? That this is a place to find aunts and uncles. This is a place that's good. You should be here. they go to Logos, and we kind of that age, and we begin sharing more of the biblical truths in a concrete way, and we give them the information that they'll need later. And then youth group is where we sit down with them pretty point blank, and we say, okay, like next step is adulthood. So what are you going to do with this? Is this, we pretty boldly challenge, you know these things, but do you know who Jesus is? And of course, if a kid gets saved along the way at a different stage, if in middle school they want to accept Jesus, or like Charlie, my daughter just accepted Christ a couple weeks ago. So it's like, hey, we're not going to stop that. But that typically is kind of the progression is
Right.
middle school is where you get to have, middle school and high school is where you get to have that conversation of, is this your faith? So you will be primarily in these early phases of, this is a good thing, and here's the good things you need to know.
Exactly.
By the way, we announced to the youth, I call them the youthlings, but we announced to the youthlings this past week that Livi, you're going to be jumping into the kids ministry. And the youth clapped, which was not what I expected them to do. You got a round of applause.
All right.
You were serving with Logos at the time, so they weren't trying to butter you up. You weren't in the room. And then they said, we'll be bummed to not have Livi in youth, but we're really excited that when we work with kids, we're going to be working with Livi. So there's a lot of excitement. So let's jump into we're gonna talk a little more specifically working with kids. So what is it that excites you about working with children? So because that's we've had you at the senior high girls. You've been teaching at Veritas. You were with sixth grade, which is, in my opinion, the hardest age possible. So then going younger, what is it that excites you about getting to work with kids that young and love kids that young?
There's a lot of things. So like you were mentioning before, we get to reap the benefits of this later on. So kids are like sponges and they absorb so much, and it's crazy to see what they'll remember. And just talking to adults that can still sing their Sunday school songs and remember the verses that they had memorized, it's a really sweet time where we can invest and pour into our children and just see that there's going to be a lot of fruit from this in the years to come. I'm also really excited to come alongside with the families and encourage them however I can with what they are doing to disciple their children at home. And then lastly, also a lot of children, like you were saying, haven't yet made that decision to follow Christ. And we get to work with them and show them what the gospel looks like, explain the gospel to them. And that's a really sweet time where we can just tell them, like, this is what it means to follow Christ. And a lot of them haven't yet made that decision, which is really cool that we get to be a big part of that.
Yeah, we get to be aunts and uncles on this long journey that God has been. He does, kids don't pop into the world and God goes, oh my goodness, what do I do with this, right? Like he is from the foundations of the earth. He knows who's coming, right? He knows how to love that child. He knows how to orchestrate things in a way that child will best hear the gospel. And so, yeah, it's exciting to get to jump in on that journey. You also get to work with a fantastic team, right? So your role is you're going to be with Logos. You're going to be with the Camelback Kids discipleship Sunday mornings. You're going to be helping with. You guys were already doing VBC, and so you're going to have those. Plus, you're going to be working with me towards loving on our young families. So there's a lot of people that you're going to get to work with. But there's also a lot of people you're going to get to work with, right? We have some amazing volunteers who have long testimonies of serving the Lord. So to that end, is there something in particular you're excited about coming on board with, right? So as you enter the team, right, that is our kids ministry, one of the goals you and I talked about is we want to, it's not necessarily changing curriculums, but creating a culture where we're all working together. So is there something in particular you're excited about to that end?
I'm excited right now just to learn more about these volunteers and their stories. And like you were saying, many of them have been serving for many, many years, and there's really great systems in place already. I was amazed when I was in Lagos the other night, just seeing the way that these girls were excited to memorize scripture and know their catechisms, and they had these beautiful relationships with their leaders. So stepping into a really great system already is exciting. And it's also amazing to learn from these very, very gifted men and women that connect with children so well, thinking of John Milligan and Debbie, and just seeing their excitement in the way that they teach and connect with kids. There's a lot of really great things happening in our kids ministry right now.
Yeah, and Annie's committed to helping, because your official start is gonna be in June. We got to finish the school year out,
Yes.
and at the time of recording, I think it's March, right? Yeah, it's March right now.
Yes.
I don't do calendars well. One day at a time. But Annie Mead she's finishing this year up with us and has done amazing things for us, and she's committed to helping with the transition over. Of course, Karen is a amazing resource. Yeah, to say that she knows the programs of Camelback Bible inside and out is an understatement.
Oh, 100%.
And so, yeah, we have this amazing team. I'm excited for everybody gets to know you. And I want to encourage everybody to take an opportunity to get to know you guys. I know you're going to be doing your best to meet everybody as well, but it's kind of on both sides, right? Like we as a church have to reach out, and at the same time, like you're entering into what's going on. And thankfully, you've been here for about, 8 months, 10 months? I don't know, math.
Somewhere in that ballpark, yeah.
You guys taught math. I didn't teach math. But yeah, so we're super excited. Is there, and I'll open this to both of you guys. Brian, we're bringing you back. Is there a word of encouragement or maybe just a word of reflection? You guys have been here at Camelback for a while. You've gotten to know some people. You're getting to know more people. Is there a word of encouragement that you would give to our Camelback family as we're looking at reaching kids, reaching families, and reaching our community for the gospel? Is there an encouragement you guys would want to give?
I would just say it's something that we've noticed since we've been here, is that this church has a very unique way of welcoming people that I think is very attractive to new people. It was to us. The way that we were welcomed in, we were not outsiders. We were welcome to be insiders as quickly as we could. That is a powerful and unique gift that I think lends itself well to evangelizing to those around us and bring them in, discipling them. And so I would just say that you have this amazing gift, and so God's going to use that.
Yeah.
And He's going to use it for youth, for our kids, for families. And so just be encouraged that you have that, and that's amazing. So
Yeah, and I did not necessarily help you guys get in. I kind of let the church help you get in.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
because I wanted you guys to experience Camelback.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely. I would also say, too, that this community has been just wonderful getting to know people. And every time we ask someone to come over to our house or we want to hang out with someone, get to know them, it's always a yes. And it's just a really great time of getting to know people, great conversations. So whether it's with youth or leaders or anyone who it may be, just having that conversation and time with getting to know them, it's just been really great for us. And then it even makes Sundays better, Wednesdays better, and it just keeps getting more and more exciting the more we get to know people as well.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And this will be going out fairly soon, so I'm going to challenge everybody that listens that I know that you want to volunteer for VBC. So go ahead and sign up for it.
Please do.
We have plenty of positions. We've got plans to help get people signed up. But welcome, Ryan and Livi. And guys, we're so excited to have you guys coming on board with us. Livi, we're excited to have you in this director position. Ryan, you'll be around the congregation. You'll help them with youth still, and so we're super excited. So thanks for coming on, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.